In 2014, The Expert, a short comedy sketch, was released on YouTube. It was an English language version of a skit that was originally produced in Russian a few years earlier. The video highlights some of the difficulties that are faced by many of our subject matter experts that are out there, and it openly mocks non-experts. Most of the comments that I've seen about this video applaud the wisdom of Anderson, the subject matter expert in the video. For example, an article on CNET written by Chris Matisic said, "This is how an engineer feels when he's surrounded by idiots." And to be sure, the skit is funny in large part because the non-experts are so stereotypically idiotic. However, a close look at this video reveals some valuable lessons for subject matter experts, the technical geniuses out there. I think all experts should consider which of Anderson's actions they should emulate and which they should not. I've been studying subject matter experts for a long time. Here's my book on the subject. Here are a few of my observations about Anderson, the expert.
Our company has a new strategic initiative to increase market penetration, maximize brand loyalty, and enhance intangible assets. In pursuit of these objectives, we've started a new project for which we require 7 red lines. I understand your company can help us in this matter.
Of course. Walter here will be the project manager. Walter, we can do this, can't we?
Yes, of course.
Yes,
Anderson
of course.
here is our expert in all matters related to the drawing of red lines. We've brought him along today to share his professional opinion.
Nice to meet you. Well, you all know me.
I know this drives many experts crazy, but sales professionals, project managers, and many others have been trained for decades to say yes to the customers. So experts shouldn't be surprised when they've been committed to do something and they don't quite know how to do it. Before the expert is even invited into a customer conversation, there's a pretty good chance that the customer's already been told multiple times, yes, we can do this. Consider, for example, Grant Cardone, a leading sales trainer and author. He put it this way: when given an option to do or not do, always say yes. Now, I recognize that a lot of experts don't like this approach, but your sales colleagues are being trained to say yes because it works. So experts should expect to see it all the time.
Yes, of course. Anderson here is our expert in all matters related to the drawing of red lines. We've brought him along today to share his professional opinion.
Nice to meet you. Well, you all know me. This is Justine, our company's design specialist.
Hello.
We need you to draw 7 red lines, all of them strictly perpendicular. Some with green ink and some with transparent. Can you do that?
No, I'm afraid...
Let's not rush into any hasty answers, Anderson.
Subject matter experts should never start with the word no. The first word out of Anderson's mouth, his first utterance, is no. When meeting with clients, experts should never do this. Anderson hasn't asked a single question. He hasn't clarified anything. He impulsively said no. It's a bad move.
No, I'm afraid...
Let's not rush into any hasty answers, Anderson. The task has been set and needs to be carried out. At the end of the day, you are an expert.
The term red line implies the color of the line to be red. To draw a red line with green ink is, well, if it's not exactly impossible, it's pretty close to being impossible.
What does that even mean? Impossible.
I mean, it is possible there are some...
Oh man, it gets worse. Impossible? Pretty close to being impossible. The only thing worse than saying no before a subject matter expert asks a single question is saying impossible before you ask a single question. I think it was David Ben-Gurion, a former prime minister of Israel, who said it like this: if an expert says it can't be done, get another expert. And that is exactly what Anderson's colleagues might do after this meeting ends if Anderson doesn't do better than just saying no or impossible at every turn. One of the goals of a subject matter expert should be to find a way to get it done, to deliver, despite all the obstacles.
What does that even mean? Impossible.
I mean, it is possible
Come
that
on,
some
man.
people say suffering from color blindness, for whom the color of the lines doesn't really make a difference. But I'm quite sure that the target audience of your project doesn't consist solely of such people.
So in principle, this is possible.
Oh, she got you. Yeah, in principle it is.
A line as such can be drawn with absolutely any ink, but if you want to get a red line, you need to use red ink.
What if we draw them with blue ink?
It still won't work. If you use blue ink, you'll get blue lines.
Okay, this is such garbage. Here, Anderson is just plain, he's just plain obstructing. I mean, a color specialist could add blue to red all the time to create some subtle shades of red. I mean, look at Justine's hair clip right there. Let's just zoom in on this. Grab the eyedropper, click on the color, bam, look at that RGB. There it is. There's tons of blue in that red hair clip. Anderson needs to find a way to say yes instead of no, no, no. Show a little creativity, man, just a little bit.
And what exactly did you mean when you talked about the transparent ink?
How to better explain? I'm sure you know what transparent means.
Yes, I do.
And what a red line means. I hope I don't need to explain to you.
Of course not.
But you need to draw a red line with transparent ink.
Oh, that's helpful.
Could
Thanks.
you describe what you imagine the end result would look like?
Oh, come on, Anderson. What have we got here? Kindergarten.
No, I'm just trying to get a...
Let's not waste our time with these unproductive quarrels. The task has been set, the task is plain and clear. Now, if you have any specific questions, then go ahead.
You're the expert here.
Okay, I think this is where Anderson actually does pretty good. He asks a perfectly appropriate question. Can you describe what you imagined the end result to look like? Yeah, I think that's okay. And Walter cuts him off and condescends. Fortunately, Anderson lets all this just slide off of his back. Like Anderson demonstrates here, experts need to be calm and neutral. Even if your colleagues condescend, like these do, or your customers are complete jerks, the expert needs to remain steady and confident. The author Tom Nichols put it this way: one of the most important characteristics of an expert is the ability to remain dispassionate. Experts must treat everything from cancer to nuclear war as problems to be solved with detachment and objectivity. On this, I think Anderson does well.
You're the expert here.
All right, let's leave aside the color for the moment. You had something there also relating to perpendicularity.
7 lines, all strictly perpendicular.
To what?
To everything amongst themselves. I assumed you know what perpendicular lines are like.
Of course he does. He's an expert.
2 lines can be perpendicular. All 7 can't be simultaneously perpendicular to each other.
Oh, man. Okay, this is a huge mistake by Anderson. Clearly, Sandra does not know what she needs. 7 lines, perpendicular to something. So why Anderson imposes the requirement that they be perpendicular to each other is just beyond me. The important point here is that experts should always pick the easiest path. When requirements are soft, ambiguous, or contradictory, which they often are, the expert should always recommend the easiest possible alternative. Certainly not the impossible options. That's a big mistake by Anderson.
Expert.
2 lines can be perpendicular. All 7 can't be simultaneously perpendicular to each other. I'll show you.
Oh. Uh-oh, he's going for the impromptu demonstration. The customer didn't ask for a demo. They don't need a demo. Demos can be great. Don't get me wrong. Demonstrations can be terrific, but they are loaded with potential pitfalls. If you go for the impromptu demo, make sure you nail it.
This is a line, right?
Yes.
And another Is it perpendicular to the first line?
Well,
Yes, it is perpendicular.
exactly.
Good job,
I'm not done.
Justine.
And a third one, is it perpendicular to the first line? Yes, it is. But it doesn't cross the second line. They're both parallel. Not perpendicular.
Suppose so.
There it is. Two lines can be perpendicular.
Can I have the pen?
Uh-oh. Yeah, he just gave control. Okay, so Anderson makes another common blunder right here. Now, it's just never mind that a geometry professor would probably disagree with Anderson on his point. We'll ignore that. What I think is important, and what all experts should recognize, is that they're not attending the meetings so that they can prove that they're the smartest person in the room. Anderson is just trying to convince everyone that he's right. That rarely helps you. It certainly doesn't help you create a happy customer. I like
How
the
about this?
smug.
This is a triangle. It's definitely not perpendicular lines. And there are three,
Oh,
not seven.
Walter's nervous.
Why are they blue?
Indeed, I wanted to ask that myself.
Distraction.
I have a blue pen with me. This was just a demonstration.
That's the problem. Your lines are blue. Draw them with red ink.
It won't solve the problem.
Well, how do you know before you've tried? Let's draw them with red ink, then let's see.
I don't have a red pen with me, but I'm completely certain that with red ink, the result will still be the same.
Didn't you tell us earlier that you could only draw red lines with red ink? In fact, yes, I've written that down.
Oh,
here.
it's classic project
And now you
management.
want to
Good
draw
job,
blue.
Walter. Good job.
And you want us to call
Classic.
these red lines?
I think I understand. You're not talking about the color now, right? You're talking about that what do you call it?
Perpendicularity, yes!
Well,
That's
Good
it.
job,
Now you've
Justine.
confused everyone. So what exactly is stopping us from doing this?
Geometry.
Just ignore it.
We have a task.
Just ignore it. Just ignore geometry. I like that. That's pretty funny. Kind of like just ignore gravity. The thing that stands out to me in this exchange is that the customer is willing to loosen every conceivable constraint. She's open to anything, even if that thing flies in the face of Euclidean geometry. Sandra is demonstrating a maximum amount of flexibility and openness to ideas. Anderson, in contrast, remains closed and rigid. He insists that geometry is a constraint, but he's the one that imposed that constraint. No one else did.
Now you've confused everyone. So what exactly is stopping us from doing this?
Geometry.
Just ignore it.
We have a task. 7 red lines. It's not 20, it's just 7. Anderson, I understand you're a specialist of a narrow field. You don't see the overall picture. But surely it's not a difficult task to draw some 7 lines.
Exactly. Suggest a solution. Now, any fool can criticize. No offense. But you're an expert. You should know better.
Okay. Let me draw you 2 perfectly perpendicular red lines. And I will draw the rest with transparent ink. They'll be invisible, but I'll draw them.
Would this suit us? Yes, this will suit us.
Oh, yep. Bam! Just like that. The first time Anderson recommends something, they say okay. See how easy that was? Just recommend something.
Yes, but at least a couple with green ink. Oh, and I have another question, if I may. Can you draw one of the lines in the form of a kitten?
What?
In the form of a kitten? Market research tells us our users like cute animals.
Walter is hilarious. I love his expression. He's like, wow, a kitten? That's a great idea. I just love that. Good job, Walter.
Hey, can you draw one of the lines in the form of a kitten?
What?
In the form of a kitten? Market research tells us our users like cute animals. It would be really great if we could
No.
But why?
Look, I can of course draw you a cat. I'm no artist, but I can give it a try, but it won't be a line anymore, it'll be a cat. A line and a cat, these are 2 different things.
A kitten. Not a cat, but a kitten. They're little,
Cute.
cuddly. Cats, on the other hand,
It won't make a difference.
Anderson, at least hear her out. She hasn't even finished speaking and you're already saying no.
I got the idea, but it's impossible to draw a line in the form of a cat. Done.
There he goes again. No, impossible. Good grief, man. Is there anything that you can do? What is Hello Kitty if not a few lines in the form of a kitten? So far, I think Anderson has said no to everything. Now, this might be a good time to point out that experts are not just representing their own skills. They're representing their entire organization. So if Anderson can't draw a kitten, which brings into question his own qualifications as a line expert, but never mind. It's important that he represents his entire organization. If he can't draw a kitten, then maybe somebody else in the organization can.
Yeah, but it's impossible to draw a line in the form of a cat. Done.
What about a bird?
Bird. Great.
So, where did we stop? What are we doing?
7
distract.
red lines, 2 with red ink, 2 with green ink, and the rest with transparent. Did I understand correctly?
Yes.
Excellent. In which case, that's everything, right?
Oh, I almost forgot. We also have a red balloon. Do you know if you could inflate it?
What do I have to do with balloons?
It's red.
Anderson, can you...
Look, people don't know where your expertise begins or ends. Sometimes people will ask obscure questions. It's pretty simple. Just act flattered, certainly not bewildered.
What do I have to do with balloons?
It's red.
Anderson, can you or can you not do this? A simple question.
As such, I can, of course, but...
Excellent. Organize a business trip. We'll cover the expenses, go over to their location, inflate the balloon.
Inflate the balloon.
Well, this is very productive.
Very productive.
Thank you all.
Good job. Oh, and taps him on the shoulder like they're best friends. Good job. Good job, Walter. Good job, Anderson. Time to get out of here. Uh-oh. New requirements.
Can I ask you one more question, please? When you inflate the balloon, could you do it in the form of a kitten?
Of course I can. I can do anything.
Uh-oh.
I can do absolutely anything. I'm an expert.
Okay, I think that's a great skit. We could have spent an hour talking about other nuances that are embedded in that skit. I just love it, and we could have talked a lot longer, but I've gone too long already. Technical experts can have a huge impact on client engagement. Anderson did some things well, but he also got some key fundamental aspects completely wrong. With a few tweaks, he could probably be excellent. We see a lot of people like Anderson, technical professionals who want to excel as a company expert, as a sales engineer or a solution consultant, but they're just not given great guidance. If you or others in your organization could do better in client interactions, then I hope you'll contact us at expertdig.com. We provide online courses and industry-leading instructions for subject matter experts in all industries. Please check us out at expertdig.com. We'll help you transform your technical professionals into agents of sales enablement. Your experts can be your greatest sales assets, and we can help you make that happen. Find us at expertdig.com.